The door was bolted from the inside. The table was set for a meal no one had finished. The clock had stopped, and all three men were gone. This is what Joseph Moore found when he forced his way into Flannan Isles Lighthouse on Boxing Day, 1900, a stone tower 15 miles off the Scottish coast, alone in the Atlantic. The Flannan Isles rise from the Outer Hebrides like broken teeth. Local fishermen avoided them for centuries, calling them the Seven Hunters, a place where the wind never stopped and the sea showed no mercy. The lighthouse went up in 1899 to guide ships through one of the most treacherous passages in British waters. 3 keepers manned the light in rotating shifts. James Ducat was principal keeper, 43, 15 years in the service, known for discipline. Thomas Marshall, second assistant, was quiet and methodical. Donald MacArthur, the occasional keeper, had just replaced the regular third man who was on shore leave. They were provisioned for 6 weeks. The light stood 150 feet above the sea, visible for 24 miles. The tower was solid stone, 4 feet thick at the base. The only way in or out was a single door at ground level, reached by an iron ladder from the landing platform below. On December 15, 1900, the steamer Arctur passed the Isles and noted that the light was not burning. The captain logged it, but thought little of it. Weather in the North Atlantic could shut down a lamp, and keepers sometimes shuttered the glass during the worst gales to keep it from shattering. A second ship reported the same on the 16th, a third on the 18th. 11 days had passed since anyone had seen the light. The Northern Lighthouse Board dispatched the relief vessel Hesperus. Joseph Moore, the relief keeper, was aboard. He expected a routine rotation. The Hesperus reached Flannan on December the 26th. Moore was rowed to the landing platform. He climbed the iron ladder and called out. No answer. He reached the door and knocked. Silence. He pushed. The door would not move. It was fastened from within. Moore forced the bolt and stepped inside. The entrance hall was dim. No lamps lit. No fire in the grate. He climbed the spiral stair, calling the keepers' names. His voice echoed off stone. He reached the living quarters. The kitchen table was set. The chairs were askew, one overturned. The clock on the wall had stopped. Moore checked the logbook. The last entry was December 15th, in Ducat's hand. Storm ended. Sea calm. God is over all. After that, blank pages. Moore climbed to the lantern room. The oil reservoir was full. The wick was trimmed. The light had not burned for days. He returned to the Hesperus and reported what he'd found. The captain sent 2 sailors back with him. They searched every room. The keepers' oilskins hung on their pegs. 2 were there. The third, Ducat's, was missing. So was 1 set of sea boots, but Marshall's and MacArthur's outdoor coats remained. Outside, at the western landing platform, they found damage. The iron railings were twisted. A tool locker, 70 feet above the normal high water mark, had been ripped from its concrete mooring and smashed. The ropes securing the supply boxes were gone. The weather had been calm for 3 days. Moore's report to the board noted one other detail. On the kitchen table, beside the unfinished meal, lay a small wooden box. Inside was a Bible, open to Psalm 107. Someone had underlined a single verse in pencil. They that go down to the sea in ships, that do business in great waters. The Northern Lighthouse Board launched a formal inquiry. Superintendent Robert Muirhead traveled to Flannan and examined the site himself. His report said the damage to the western platform was consistent with an extremely violent sea, but he could not explain why experienced men would have gone outside during such conditions. A crewman aboard the Hesperus came forward with something Muirhead had not known. On December 17th, 2 days after the light went dark, he had been ashore on the Isle of Lewis, 30 miles east. Fishermen there told him they had seen a monstrous wave roll in from the direction of Flannan. It came alone, without a storm, and receded just as suddenly. Muirhead returned to the lighthouse and re-examined the logbook. The final entry was dated December 15th, but the meal on the table had not spoiled. It appeared to have been set more recently, possibly on the 17th. If true, at least one keeper had remained alive after the log was closed and chose not to write again. The inquiry concluded that Ducat and Marshall had gone outside to secure equipment damaged by a sudden swell, and MacArthur, seeing them in danger from the window, had rushed out without his coat to help. A rogue wave took all three. The door, they said, must have swung shut, and the bolt fallen into place by chance. But Moore's testimony contradicted that. He stated under oath that the bolt had been drawn fully across, not dropped, but deliberately slid into its bracket. Someone had locked the door from inside and then vanished. Sailors who knew Ducat said he would never have left the lighthouse unmanned, no matter the emergency. Regulations required that one keeper remain inside at all times. If two went out, the third stayed at his post. It was the iron rule. Ducat had never broken it in 15 years. Others noted the Bible. MacArthur was known to be devout. If he had opened it to that psalm, it suggested he was afraid, seeking comfort, but the underlining was in Ducat's hand. He was not a religious man. Why would he mark that verse, and when? In 1947, a journalist revisited the case and found a shepherd on Lewis who remembered December 1900. The fishermen, he said, had not described the wave as a swell. They called it a wall of black water standing upright that moved against the wind, and behind it, something vast had surfaced briefly and gone down again. The Flannan light was automated in 1971. The keeper's quarters remain as they were found. Table, chairs, the stopped clock. No bodies were ever recovered. No wreckage washed ashore. The official cause of death is listed as drowning, but the Northern Lighthouse Board never explained the locked door. Subsequent keepers stationed on Flannan reported hearing footsteps on the stair when the tower was empty. One wrote in his log that he woke to find wet boot prints leading from the door to the table, though it had not rained and no one had come ashore. The prints faded as he watched. 3 men walked into the Atlantic and left behind a meal, a marked Bible, and a door locked from within. If they drowned, who secured the bolt? If they fled, what did they see that was worse than the sea? And if something came for them, why did it leave the lighthouse sealed? Do you believe what you just witnessed? If not, tell us why in the comments below. And if this story sent a chill through you, like and subscribe to WTH Historical. There are darker mysteries still to come.